Hey guys, it's Angie. Today is Monday, so it is officially what sold for me last week video time. So I want to give you a quick roundup of my total sales for the last week and show you some of the items that were a little more interesting that I sold. And I hope that gives you some ideas when you're outsourcing of items that you can pick up as well. If you're new here, I am Angie and I have been selling on eBay for the last 24 years. Wow, that's a long time. I love to pick things up at yard sales, thrift stores, and the Goodwill bins to flip it on eBay. So welcome in. All right, let's get right into this week's sales and see how I did. This week I sold $3,235.55. So that's pretty darn good sales. So let's talk about some of the interesting items that sold for me. Now, first of all, I sold 130 items this week, so I can't possibly go through them all. We'll be here for way too long, but let's take a look at some of the highlights. I sold a couple pairs of shoes, more than I'm going to show you, but this is a brand I had never heard of, Jambu. They were new in a box. I picked them up at a yard sale for $5, I think 2 weeks ago. The lady saw that I was interested in them and I said, listen, you want $20? I'm just not interested at that price. And she said, well, how much will you give me for them? And I was like, honestly, I'm like at the $5 range for shoes. And she said, okay, I'll take $5. So I picked them up and they sold for $33.71. I did sell these UGG boots, picked these up at the Goodwill bins, so I paid about $6 for them. And in the middle of June, sold them for $59.96. I sell items all year long, regardless of what season they're meant for. Today alone, I sold a pair of North Face ski pants, so you'll see those next week. But it's, again, in the middle of June, and this kind of stuff sells. Mary Kay. I do pick up Mary Kay. I sold a bunch of Mary Kay this week. I had purchased it at a yard sale several weeks ago for $1 an item. But the reason I want to show this particular item is because some of the discontinued items are like this. Discontinued but still really sought after. This one concealer sold for $40.45. Now most of my Mary Kay items are selling in about the $13 to $15 range, but once in a while you find something like this and it's a big score. Plush. Guys, you know I love to flip plush. I usually pick them up for about 25 cents to $1 depending on what it is. This little guy I picked up at a yard sale for 25 cents and he sold within 2 days for $24.26. I picked up this little Anna Lee doll at the Goodwill bin, so in it less than $1, and took her a little bit, couple months to sell, but it did sell for $32.35. Minecraft. My daughter was a huge Minecraft fan. I'm sure if she saw this thing, she would have wanted it. I actually sold it for less than I really wanted to, but I was happy for the sale. $17.46. And then I did sell this Shrek. He was pretty cool. He was a little bit bigger, 16 inches, and he sold for $12.57. Oh, and then the Pokemon. This little guy, only 6 inches, picked him up for $1 at a yard sale, and he sold for $16.16. I did pick up these cow parades at the Goodwill bins probably a year ago. He was the last one to sell, and I'm surprised because I thought someone would really like him. He's the Texas one with the Texas star and the cowboy. It took him a while to sell. I finally lowered his price just a little bit and he sold for $17.95. The next item is a Jack LaLanne power juicer, just the bin. I think Commonwealth Picker says, when in doubt, part it out. Now, I've been parting things out for years because you can make great money by taking an item apart and selling the individual pieces. This power juicer I had was complete. It probably would have only sold for about $28 to $30 whole, but I just sold this little plastic bin for $19.76. I sold the base, the actual motor, for $25, and I still have a couple other parts that will sell. So by parting them out, I'm actually making more money than if I sold it whole. I actually picked up a bunch of dolls for 25 cents. This little doll was one of them. She was just a tiny little 4.5-inch wooden Japanese doll. I kind of just took her picture on Google Images to get an idea of what to call her and put her on, and she sold within like 2 days for $13.45. And then I sold this one, which I thought was so cute as well. Sold it for $13.45, and she came with her own little box. I probably could have sold these for a little bit higher, but I just didn't know a whole lot about them, and so I put them at what I thought was a reasonable offer for them, and they sold right away. So I'm happy with that. Only 25 cents a piece into them. A few weeks ago, I picked up this awesome doll lot. Dolls are not something that I normally pick up, but the reason I was even interested is I saw a Michael Jackson doll, and these clothes were there with them. They were new in packaging. I paid 25 cents each for these clothes, and this one here happens to be his Motown outfit, which sold for $44.95, and this one is the Human Nature one, which also sold for $44.95. I still have a Michael Jackson, actually 2 Michael Jackson dolls and 1 more outfit and a bunch of other things. I have a video coming out, I think on Wednesday, that will tell you all about the dolls that I picked up. I paid $16 for this great lot. Can't wait for you to see that. Part of that lot was this She-Ra dolls, had a whole little collection of She-Ra dolls. She sold for $22.45, and guys, she was like this tiny little She-Ra doll this big from the 80s. And in that lot were these. They're like My Little Pony combs. Now only this purple one, am I 100% sure, is My Little Pony, because it does say that on there. But I said, please verify for yourself. I believe they're My Little Pony, but they're all definitely from the 80s. And they sold for $11.66. In that lot was also this Dusty doll. She's a tennis player, but look at that tan. Evidently, she must have been the tannest girl ever. I don't know who she is, but she was very tan from being out in the sun, I guess. She did sell for $17.95, and she didn't have her tennis racket, but she did have the cute little shoes on. I also sold these old Ken from Barbie accessories. Now, it was missing this boot. You can see that black boot is gone, but it had lots of shoes, a lot of accessories, a little briefcase. Sold all of those for $15.25. And in that lot, I sold this crazy little thing. She was literally this big, 2 inches tall. I put her on Google Lens, and she came up as a Seaweed Shimmers. There you go. And I couldn't believe it. I put her on for $8, and she sold the very next day. Oh, speaking of parting it out, I had an iRobot dog. It was a Wowie. That thing would not charge, unfortunately. So I parted it out, same as I do with electronics. And the very next day, I sold the watch for it for $13.45. And I believe the whole thing I paid $1 for. So I have this, and then I have 2 other parts that are listed. So I will make more than my money back. So if you get something that doesn't work, if there's things on there that you can pull off to still make some money and recoup your initial investment, definitely do that. So I went to this yard sale 2 weekends ago and saw that there was a box that said DVDs are 25 cents, and in there were some PS3 games. I was shocked that they were in there at all. Now, I know nothing about games, and you'll hear me all the time complain that I never find games at any yard sales. Well, I'm looking through and I'm like, well, how much are the games that are in here? And he's like, oh, they're 25 cents a piece too. And I was like, okay. Then he brings me over a whole other box of PS3 games. And he's like, I have all these too. I was like, oh my gosh. So I put all of them in one box that I wanted, along with a couple other DVDs and some Monster High movies, things like that. And he's like, how about I just give them to you for $5 for the whole box? So all of these I ended up paying about 10 cents a piece or less, because there were at least 50 games in there. The whole point is I had a great score on this. I don't know why they were selling them so low. I have sold a ton of these games, but just wanted to show you a few of them and let you know, always be on lookout for older games. You just never know what you could find when you're rummaging through boxes. This was Dead Space, and it sold for $17.95. And then God of War sold for $22.45. obviously with just one of those it paid for my entire purchase. That sale I picked up a few really good items that hopefully will sell over the next couple weeks if I get them listed. I have done a video on here on how to be a buyer for Whatnot. When you refer someone to Whatnot, they get $10 that they can use on any auction, and I get $10 as well. Well, I had some credits on there, so I went to someone's sale and they were selling a bunch of clothes for $1 a piece. With those credits, you still have to pay the shipping, but I purchased these items when you still got the second item for $1, the third item for $1 on the shipping. So I ended up purchasing about 25 items worth of clothes for about $30 with my credits, and this was one of those items. This is a Maya Angelou Black History Month shirt. It was brand new with tags. It sold for $11.66. That's almost paid for my entire lot of clothes for that day. One more item and it'll basically pay for it. But if you haven't done Whatnot yet as a buyer, I recommend going and checking it out. And if you look below in my description, there's a link there that'll get you $10 free just for trying it out, and you can get some free inventory too. I did pick this up. It's a J. Crew poncho sweater. I did find the stock photo, but all of these are the actual item, and it sold in the middle of summer for $44.95. Chaps is not usually a brand that I do a lot with, except for if it's plus size. This one was a 3X little pullover sweater, and it sold for $19.76. And Nike, anytime you find Nike, I love Nike women's gear. It sells really well for me. I picked up a ton of Nike items that were women's for $1 a piece. This one sold for $22.45. And I sell a lot of swimsuits. I've picked up lots in the past that are brand new with tags. But this one I actually picked up at the Goodwill bins. It was brand new with tags. Now, the top was a medium, the bottom was a large, and I stated that in the listing, you can see. But Victoria's Secret swimsuits sell really, really well. This one sold for $35.95. So be on the lookout for them, because even pre-owned, they sell pretty good. Now let's take a look at some other things. I did sell a ton more clothes, guys, but I'm not going to go through all those. Lots of bread and butter items. This is something that I picked up on a pallet that I received. Would not recommend it. I am not buying pallets, especially from this source. But one of the items was this hot water tank. Now, this had a little damage. I will show you. It looks like it was probably dropped, and you can see some of the little prongs on the outside were bent. It doesn't affect it at all. It was never installed, but I did sell it for a best offer of $35 plus shipping. I can't even tell you how much I paid on this lot because I lost my booty on the whole thing, and we're just calling it a wash. We're pretending that never happened and just moving forward. My Oliver is the pickiest eater ever, and he was having some stomach issues. He's a dachshund. We have tried everything under the sun. My vet recommended this Hill Science sensitive stomach food for him. He ate a few cans of it and then was like, nope, I'm not eating any more of that. And so I had a case plus 3 cans of the Hill Science food. It's super expensive. I don't care how much it was if he would just eat it, but he won't. I was gonna donate it, and then I happened to look it up on eBay. I was super surprised that I could even sell it on eBay. And it's not like it was almost expired. It's not expired till a year from December. But it did sell for a best offer of $45, and I was glad to recoup some of my money. Oh, I had picked this up. This is really cool. It's an old Star Trek telephone. You can see what it looks like there. It's really neat. I picked it up for $5. It did sell for a best offer of $45 plus shipping. And then I sold these rollerblades. Oh my gosh, guys, I have had these for 2 years. They're really nice rollerblades. I do not know why they wouldn't sell. I know the shipping is high, but they were super heavy, and this was going across country. I did take a best offer of $35 just to get rid of them, and super happy that somebody's getting them. They were really nice rollerblades. Then I sold this printer. That was in my death pile for a year, I think. People are afraid to sell big items, but don't be. If you find something like this was still in the box, it had all of the manuals, all the cords, and when I showed the ink, I think it's somewhere, here you go. I showed the ink, and the ink levels are almost full on this thing. So it's a really good deal for somebody. The printer is about $200, I think. So someone purchased it for, I think, $80 best offer plus shipping, but still, it's still a great deal considering it has full ink. The ink alone is super expensive, so. But if you run across a good deal, it was super easy to ship UPS ground. It still had its styrofoam and everything, so I just patted it a little bit more and it was good to go UPS ground. Don't be afraid to use UPS ground, it's your friend. Then my best item of the week happens to be 2 items that were the same. Let me show you what it was. It was a car part. What? These are grills for a Honda Accord and other models you can also use for this. It still had the emblem on it. I was at a local thrift store and someone came out with these and she asked the manager, who happened to just be near me, what am I going to do with these? And she said, oh, just put, I didn't hear what price she said on them. She said someone might want them for hanging up or something, like for decor. She came out and she had marked them $3.95 a piece. And there were 3 of them. So I actually have 3 of these and have now sold 2. They were a nightmare to make a box big enough. It took way too long to ship these, but they went UPS ground. Now, if I would have shipped this priority mail, it was like $78 to go priority mail, but UPS ground, $18 for this one. So this one sold for $98.96. And then the other one sold, it says $98.96, but I did take a best offer, I think of $85. Car parts are a great thing to flip, especially if you get the OEM, which is original equipment manufacturer. So this is an actual Honda grill with the Honda emblem in the middle. When I saw it, I knew right away I wanted to pick them up. But I've picked up a ton of car parts in the past because they do really, really well. People are looking to save money. If they need a repair on their vehicle, it's super, super expensive for them to buy that from Honda. So if they can get a way to save a bunch of money and buying it through eBay, they will. So sold 2 of those last week and super happy about that. And then my final sale I want to show you is, of course, my lowest sale of the week, but all sales are important, and that is this Rainbow Six Vegas 2 for PS3. I sold it for $6.26, and guys, that was with free shipping. That's okay though. This was part of that $5 bundle of PS3 games that I got, so I have 10 cents at most into it. And it's another sale. I had the games. It was super easy to list games. You scan them, 2 little pictures, rinse and repeat for all of the items. And so that's what I did. 2 pictures right there and right there, and got it listed. And hey, I'll make a few dollars on this, and other ones I made a whole lot more on. So I'm happy to get that out of here, and it's just another sale for the week, and I appreciate every single dollar. Sales have been pretty consistent for me the last several weeks, but it's because I have finally started being consistent with my listing. My friend Rachel Strickland will tell you, treat your business like your business. I am taking that to heart for sure. So thank you, Rachel. I have really been putting a lot of effort into making sure that I'm listing every single day, that I am ending and selling similar listings, putting items on sale, promoting my items, changing that out every few days. So I'm constantly doing something on eBay and listing at least 25 or more items every single day. Now, this is my full-time job. You may not be able to do that, and that's okay. Doing something consistently every day, even if it's like 5 items a day, is what is going to let eBay know to keep you on the top of their list and your listings not get stale and down in the search results, because that's the last thing you want. You want to keep your listings at the top, because if there's 20,000 listings and you're at the bottom, people aren't going to ever see your items. It's not like Poshmark where you have to push yourself to the top, but there are other ways that you can do that with eBay. So that's what I recommend. So does anyone have plans for the 4th of July? My mom and I have decided we're going to get a blow-up pool. That's right, a blow-up pool. We're going to put it in the backyard, all 2.5 foot tall of it. We're going to get in it over the 4th of July weekend. We're going to grill out on a little charcoal grill, and we're going to torture our dog by putting him in the pool when he absolutely hates water, just to see what happens. So I am looking forward to at least a few hours of downtime. I spent a lot of time working, so it's nice to have a plan of something that we're going to do that's just silly and fun. So that will be something we're doing this weekend. What about you? I hope you are doing some things with your family or taking some time to just enjoy the moment, because we can't spend every day, all day, just on work. With that, I'm going to get out of here and get back to listing. I hope you had a great day. We'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me, and don't forget, subscribe if you haven't yet. Bye.